if you're going to get something, let's try to figure out a way that we can make it work for us.
Yeah.
Not just get the car and just, I'm going to get this and do this. Let's get this money and let's put it somewhere and let me grow and pay the car from that money.
Exactly. I love
That's
it,
what they doing.
Yeah.
Or they take your money and they going somewhere else and they buy more cars and just like, hey, and they just recycling your cash.
Exactly.
Why would I recycle? Let me do what I do with my cash.
No Free Lunch is presented by T. Rowe Price. The information provided on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered financial or legal advice. Always consult with a qualified financial and or legal professionals before making any legal or financial decisions or investments. I'm Ndamukong Suh, and welcome to No Free Lunch, where we talk to experts and athletes about how the most successful people in sports manage their money and grow their wealth. Danny, what's going on, boss?
You know, living the dream. So you're back in Portland for a brief moment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know I'm always on the road.
Yeah, I know, man. You're the hardest man to keep track of, but happy to be speaking to you, man. Today's guest, I'm excited to hear about what he's got going on now, but I moved to Chicago. I've also lived all over the place, to be honest. I lived in Chicago, and I moved there right after the Cubs won the World Series.
Ooh, okay.
They won in 2016, and our guest today, Dexter Fowler, was part of that team. And Chicago was on fire. I don't know if you spent time around that time, 2016, when they won, but it had been 108 years since they had won a championship.
Nah, man, I was living life in Miami, the high life in Miami. So I had just left Detroit. I was not near Chicago, but I got a lot of love for Chicago and the Cubs. One, because I know the Ricketts family pretty well. And I think they're a great organization and obviously a well-deserved World Series for them in 2016. And I think they're still playing well to these days, if I'm not mistaken. I tried to catch up with Tom the other day, Mr. Ricketts. So I'll have to make sure when I'm back in the city of Chicago, I go say hello.
Yeah, no, beautiful sports town. But Dexter, he's been staying busy since he retired, and he co-founded 400 Ventures, which is a talent management company, and is a part of a couple management ownership groups in the Premier League. So I'm excited just to hear about what he's got going on now, but even some cool stories from because we haven't had a baseball player on No Free Lunch yet, and people talk about baseball money. You know, we
haven't, man. And Dexter is a good dude. We've got to meet each other for the first time. I'd obviously known of him. Obviously, he's very well known and obviously an elite athlete, but got to know and hang out with him a little bit this past summer in Greece. We are both Jumpman athletes and part of the Board of Greatness. So it was good to spend some time with him, but I'm excited to have this conversation and learn about all his endeavors that I know a little bit about right here on No Free Lunch. Dexter, what's going on, boss man? How are you?
Big dog, what's going on, brother?
Not much, man. It's been a couple months since we've seen each other in Greece, boss.
Yeah, that was the time was had. The time was had back then. But yeah, it has been. But it feels like it was. I mean, time flew, right? I feel like it was just like last week.
It was a ball of fun. That's why it went by fast.
That's true. That's very true.
Well, man, I appreciate you joining No Free Lunch. I want to start off with your story in growing up in Greater Atlanta and what that was like as a young man and your family history. What was that like as growing up as a kid in Atlanta and in the greater part of Atlanta?
Yeah, so I'm the youngest. I got an older brother. We grew up in Marietta, East Cobb, and then we moved to Alpharetta. But my parents, my mom was a teacher, inner city school teacher. Yeah, elementary school, K through 5. Yeah, PE teacher. Yeah, so she was out there, and my dad, he's in corporate America, was a director of global accounts for Kimberly-Clark.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what brought us out there. So we were out there, grew up, middle class. Went to Milton High School, played baseball through and through, basketball as well. Could have gone to college to play basketball. My brother played in college. at Tennessee State. So I grew up getting beat up by those boys all the time. But it made me better. That's why I'm so competitive now. But
I can see that, man. That's amazing. It's very similar to how I grew up. I didn't know your mom was a teacher. My mom was a teacher, elementary teacher as well. So first and second grade. And I mean, I know education was huge in your family with your mom being a teacher. So I want to touch 100%. On that a little bit. And really, what was it like growing up from a perspective of your mom being a teacher, your dad being in corporate America, and you guys talking about money just in general as a family? Was it a easy topic? Was it a hard topic or something in between?
You know what? I was one of those kids. I always said, bro, you ask my mom to this day, Dex always had money. Like, you get your birthday. I remember getting my birthday cards, right? Yeah. And I didn't know about checks or none of that. So I would keep the checks forever. Like I would just put the checks up, I'd stack all my money, the cash and the checks. And they're like, these checks are 2 years old. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't, like, you have to go, like, these people are waiting on this money to come out their account. Yeah. So I that's how I learned the value of money is all my birthdays, man. I would keep the cash. I would go, I didn't want anything. I just wanted money so I can go spend it the way I want to spend it or save it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's you were a good kid to wanting to save money versus go out there and, as my dad would say, burn a hole in your pocket to go spend it. And that's a interesting dynamic. And where do you think that came from when it comes to like your familyhood and really that instilling you to save money versus go and spend it, especially as you didn't know you were going to go be the amazing baseball player you were, but like they instilled something within you to say, hey, saving money is a good thing and being smart with it, making smart decisions.
No, it's a great question. And you know what? I guess it's just, you learn by example. You learn about what you see at your family, and you see your parents and them, budgeting. Like I used to be in, you go in and their family's budgeting. Like, hey, this week, we're gonna do this, that, the third, and you start to understand. And my parents definitely sat us down and talked to us about, being able to always have money and being able to budget. Right, once you start budgeting and knowing what stuff is going to cost, the value of $1. And what it can get you. And you're like, I want to save up for X, Y, and Z. So you work hard, save your money, and you can get this.
Yeah. And that's interesting. It's a great segue to having had that experience and those lessons learned and having a budget and family that was showing you that at an early age. You left out of high school straight to the pros, being drafted. I would assume that wasn't by any means a financial decision. That was an opportunity that was afforded to you that you said, man, I'm going to go and play a sport that I love. And so my question is more or less, was it a financial decision or was it a true baseball decision of why you left after being drafted right out of high school?
It was both. It was both, to be honest with you. Like, when I got drafted, I got first round money. So, it was life-changing money. So at the time, I was like, you know what? You can't pass this up. If you get hurt, then you in college or something, and God willing, you don't nothing like that happens. But if it does, you feel like you missed your chance. So I told my parents I was going to University of Miami on the biggest scholarship they've ever given a position player at the time. So because they always give the position player, it's the pitchers, the starting pitchers, full rides. Like my parents had to pay minimal dollars for me to go to school. Yeah. And ended up, I told him, I was like, I'm really just probably going to go to school just so I can play baseball and then, see where that takes me. And I said, but I could go right now, take the money, go right now, have 4 years of college paid for when I'm done playing. And I promise you I will go back to school. Okay. So I ended up going to play professionally, obviously. And then after my career, I just graduated, 2 years ago now. From Penn State. I went to Penn State.
Congratulations, man. What made you choose Penn State?
The fact that I could do it all online. They had a world campus. And the school was, it's a reputable school as well. So I said, you know what? I could do it all online. Like I've spent a day and I spent 36 hours on campus.
Oh, wow.
And that was the day I graduated. Okay. Like I flew in, had my graduation, flew out the next day.
No, that's dope because I told my mom if I went to college, obviously, in a great university that beats up on Penn State now, as in Nebraska. If you haven't heard of that,
I see it back there. I see it back.
But like I had the opportunity to go to the draft right after my junior year, and I was like, I'm going. But my mom said, if you go, you got to come back and finish school. I said, Mom, I'm gonna stay then. Because if I leave, I'm not coming back. This is not going to happen. So, I commend you for obviously the great career, but then getting your degree and finishing that. And talking about being drafted by the Colorado Rockies, what was it like, one, playing in the minors and then working your way up to obviously to the majors? And what was that transition like for you in really that moment of understanding, like, did I make the right decision? Did I not make the right decision having to start in the minors before getting up to the majors from that perspective?
It's funny you say that because obviously growing up in Atlanta, super cultural, the South.
Yeah.
I signed and I went to Casper, Wyoming.
Mm.
Yeah. And my first
Casper, Wyoming. Okay.
Yes. My first road trip was to Idaho Falls.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a 14-hour bus ride, and you're sitting there traveling all night. And I remember, University of Miami were chartering flights. So I called my mom. I remember like it was yesterday. It was probably like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. We're at the gas station. Everybody's getting off. They're going to McDonald's or going to convenience stores, getting food, snacks or whatever. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, I don't know if I made the right decision. I said, yeah, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. I'm 18 years old.
Yeah.
Right out of high school. Half of the dudes on my team didn't speak English. Like, and you don't know anybody. So you're just like, but that becomes your family. But my mom said, Dex, you better pray on it and get out as quickly as possible. And I said, all right, that's what I'm going to do. So I went to work. And 2.5 years later, I'm in the big league. So
that's very interesting because 18 years old and not knowing anybody around you, no support system, no nothing. You're on the road in very rural parts of this country and world and whatnot. And like, that is trials and tribulations. And that emotionally and mentally alone is enough. Then let it go and you got to go focus on playing a sport and being very successful at that. That is a lot and very commendable. Would you think?
But what people don't understand is how much downtime you have.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like in the minor leagues, like, especially like we play in the summertime, and that's when all your friends and people are at home because they all went to college. So they're home for summer. Right.
Yeah.
And then when you get back in the off season, nobody's there. Everybody's in school.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like on opposite schedules. So, having friends and doing all that. And another a funny thing is I told my mom and everybody, I was like, as soon as I get out this league, in the Pioneer, it's called the Pioneer League. It was Missoula, Montana, Billings, Helena, like Casper, like it was Idaho Falls, like everywhere, like beautiful. Yeah. And so I said, as soon as I get out this league, I'm never coming back to this part of the country. And now we have a house in Montana. And I love it. It's like our getaway. I'm like, let's continue.
You like Montana that peace and quiet now.
I love it. I love it.
So what did you do with that downtime? Because for me, like, I was really big on like filling that downtime with different things that I could work on, whether it's business, internships, externships, and like meeting people from that perspective. So what did you do with that downtime? I'm just curious, especially being 18 years old.
That's what I'm saying. So, what I did is I got a job at a golf course. Okay. I was a cart tender. Yeah, I was at one of the local golf courses. I go work out and you meet people at the golf course, right? So I got to play golf for free, but I was a cart tender. So people bring their carts in. I take the carts, clean the club, spray down the carts. But I ended up getting a chance to talk to people and I go learn the game of golf. So I was interested in golf. My dad played, he used to play when I was growing up and I always wanted to, I started getting the,
so hold on, run this back for me. You just had life-changing money getting drafted. You're playing in the minors for a year or two, but you say, I'm going to go get a job and learn the game of golf and be a cart master, for lack of better words, and get to know people. Tell me how that all works.
I don't know how that came about. I just wondered. I was just looking for jobs, and one of the ladies that work with my mom was like, "Oh, Mr. Nelson works at this golf course." He goes, "He's actually looking for somebody to work there." I said, "I'll do it. I'll go work over there." Like, I'm bored. Like, I'm just, you kind of get to pick your own schedule. Like, I can't come until after a certain time because I got to work out. I got to go train. But then after that, I'm free. So I'll come. So I went over there and just got to work. But you know what? You get to meet all different walks of life of people, and obviously people you grew up with, and they know who I was because it was in the area I grew up in. And they're like, "Why are you working here?"
Yeah.
And then, you know how the signing bonus and stuff are, so they can see how much you got. Like, hey, I'm bored, honestly. Like, I'm trying to get out the house and just, live.
Hey man, I hope there's a lot more guys that hear this and understand that. Like, there's nothing wrong with going and getting a second job, even though you've made it in sports. And that's a part of learning that experience and understanding and meeting in relationships. That relationship capital, I'm sure you had a ton of relationships that you met at that golf course that you still have to this day 100%. That are invaluable. And you didn't even know that they were going to be valuable to you at this point in time.
Exactly. But they like you said, they commend you for even, I don't have to work. I'm just out here working.
Yeah.
so that in itself.
I want to switch to a little bit of a segment I like to call Show Me the Receipts. Okay. And this is a little bit about what you've done and what you've liked to spend money on. So when you got your first check, do you remember what it was and how much you got and what you spent on first?
My first check, like in the big leagues or signing bonus wise?
I'm going to do signing bonus and big leagues. Okay. Because I know you got multiple contracts.
Signing bonus wise, I got a car. I got a Range Rover. I went and bought a Range Rover. And my dad, and being the guy he is, he's like, "Why don't you just lease it? You're going to want another one." And then I said, "Dad, I want it to be mine. I want to buy it. Like, I got the money to pay cash for it. Like, I'm going to go ahead and do what I want." And so I ended up, he took me in there and bought the car. And he's like, and 2 years later, I'm like, "Hey, new one came out. I want to get the new one." Yeah. I'm like, "Why would I just be able to get the new one?" He's like, "I told you not to buy it. You should have leased it. And then you could have gotten a new one. Like, just
swap it out. Yeah.
Just swap it out. It's a depreciating asset." He's like you could have taken that money and built something else, let it
do me a favor and say that again. It is a what type of asset?
A depreciating asset.
Yes. This is something that kids don't understand. It's cool to have whips, have all these amazing cars and whatnot, but as soon as you take it off the lot, it goes straight downhill. Straight down.
So I lease all my cars. Like, I'm not buying a car. Like, there's no point. Like I said, I'm going to want the next one. Yeah. And then this money that I just gave to the car dealership, I could have taken that money and made money on my money.
Yep.
Right. And that's what, being young and I'm like naive is the word. I'm not gonna say dumb, naive. Yeah, naive. Right? You don't know what you don't know. But going and doing stuff like that, it's like you realize as you get older, it's like you can't have it all.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't try to, but if you're gonna get something, let's try to figure out a way that we can make it work for us.
Yeah.
Not just get the car and just, I'm gonna get this and do this. Let's get this money and let's put it somewhere and let me grow and pay the car from that money.
Exactly. I love
That's what they doing. Yeah. Or they take your money and they go somewhere else and they buy more cars and it's like, hey, and they just recycle your cash. Exactly. Why would I recycle? Let me do what I do with my cash.
I'm the same way. I lease cars, but mine are not Range Rovers. I'm on the GMC side, the AT4 trucks and
I don't hate it.
The small stuff and whatnot.
See,
but
cars aren't my vice either. Like, I like watches. I'm a watch guy.
Okay. Ooh,
I love watches, bro.
So would you say watches are the one thing that you spend on that you'll never put a limit on?
No, I'll put a limit on everything.
Okay.
I'll put a
So
limit
what's
on
your limit
everything.
for watches then?
Even look, I want a Cully. I have the money to get a Cully.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I'm not spending half a ticket on a car. I'm not going to do it. I can't pull the trigger. I don't.
Yeah.
And the same holds true with watches. Like I remember I went in the Richard store, Richard Mille,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him. I said, "Oh yeah, this is nice. Like, how much is this?" And he was like, "Oh, this is 1.2." I said, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm not spending $1 million on a watch. There's levels, and I'm not there yet.
Yes.
I don't think I'll ever be there."
So it's interesting that you say that though, because I just had a conversation with somebody about a Richard Mille, and it was about $350, and I think it's beautiful, but I just couldn't sit there and say with good conscience I can go and buy this watch right here, right now.
I'm the same.
Versus, yeah, definitely can. Versus, let me go put $350 in Bitcoin and get a couple, like 2 or 3 Bitcoins, and let's see, and then let that grow, and then maybe I can go buy a watch after that. But to me, like just to have a materialistic item of a watch, although you could say that's an appreciating asset because over the years, especially through COVID,
100%.
they've grown up, they've continued to go up in value, but it's just there's something about that. It's just a little bit more of a not something that I see as a true investment.
Right, it's more of an impulse buy. It's more of a flex.
Yeah, it's definitely a flex for sure.
It's a flex, if you will, but they're good conversation pieces. Like you said, they appreciate. But it's like it's getting the right watch, not the one that's like, get the timeless piece, right?
Yeah.
The one that's like in 5-6 years, I'm like, that's still in. That watch is still going.
I'm gonna ask you one more question on the money side and the show me the receipts. What is something that you spend over $10K that you don't regret, but somewhat kind of do?
Over 10K. Probably my crossbody. I got Hermes crossbody.
Hermes, okay.
Yeah, they're like Birkins, like they're Kellys. It's called a crossbody Kelly, and I got like 4 or 5 of them. And it's just like I don't regret it because I love them.
I didn't even know that they had those as crossbodies. Because I'm a crossbody dude myself, and I was just talking to my buddy, and I was like, "Man, we can't be having things all in our pockets. We got to have a crossbody." And I was sitting in the store in Dior with my wife. We were in London the other day, and she was like, "You should just get it." And I was like, I don't really like it like that. And I mean, that's a couple grand, but a Birkin or Hermes crossbody, okay.
It's a Kelly. It's a cross. It sits right here. You just, you put it, and everybody knows. It's like, it's a feel good bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wear it, and everybody's like, "Oh, the bag's cold." Like, bro, it's sick. Like, and it's one of those. It's like, all right, like I'm gonna flex a little bit today.
So I got to make sure I take this out of the episode because I don't want my wife to notice at all.
She's like,
you my wife.
Get it.
For sure, man. Well, shoot, man, I appreciate you sharing some of those receipts, but I want to talk a little bit more about your business and graduating obviously from college and how you've translated that into some of the business endeavors and what you envision. If you haven't already reached it, but what is your biggest win to date, having had so much success, especially in sports?
Biggest win to date probably would be my relationships.
Okay.
The relationships I've formed.
Powerful.
And that's helped me through business, and building my network has helped me. My business mentor is Bill Foley. I got another mentor, Paul Hazen. Like these guys, they kind of took me under their wing, and these guys are uber successful. Yeah. And I sit on boards and do board work, and through that, I'm meeting other people, and just even the relationships when I was playing. I definitely sat down with the sponsors. I sat down with the CEOs, whoever came to the game, and like it spoke to them and formed a relationship, went golfing and hung out with them. And, that has done me wonders, right? Because there's like, Dex, you should get in on this. Dex, you should get on that, which kind of helped me segue into the businesses that I've created. I have a sports and entertainment management company. I also have I bought an RIA, so I have a wealth management company. And it's and then I have a production company. So like all that is all encompassing. We're all in the same, mold, but it's like the relationships that I formed. It's like, oh, I can put you here. Oh, you should come over here. You should do this. And I'd have to say that the biggest thing is the relationships, because I mean, the people you're around, the people you talk to on a day-to-day basis, that kind of molds where you're going and how you're gonna get there.
Nah, I love that, man. I wholeheartedly agree with that, especially because I know I got still friends that are from high school, college, in early adult years, but I spend my most time with my mentors and the people that I do business with and who I'm working with to build things, which all those people seem to be in their 50s, 60s, and 70s from that perspective. And I say that all to say that because relationships are very key. And those relationships are not only friendships, but also business partners through and through. So I'm curious to understand a little bit more about the boards that you're on, of what you can share in that space. And also mentioning, like, you won obviously a World Series championship with the Cubs. Are you still close with that organization and the Ricketts family and those folks as well? And valuing those types of relationships as well.
Yeah, so I'll start with the relationship side and the boards and stuff. So Bill Foley was my next door neighbor, or we lived right across the street from each other when I moved in. I pinch myself all the time. Like, the realtor was like, Bill Foley, he lives right there. I was like, I don't even know who Bill Foley is. Like, I was like, well, cool. He's like, and then I saw him over here at my neighborhood now, and we were golfing, or I was golfing, and I saw he had Foley on the back, and I was like, hey, is Bill here? He was like, oh yeah, he's coming up. So I introduced myself, and he's like, hey, you ever been to a hockey game? And I was like, no. And he was like, I'd like to take you. Why don't you? I said, well, we have a gift for you. I'll bring the gift over. And I brought the gift over, and he's like, hey, come to the hockey game with us on Wednesday. And so he came over and brought 2 bottles of wine. It was a Chalk Hill and a Foley Johnson, like his wineries. I didn't grasp who he was. Yeah. He obviously owns the Knights, started Fidelity. So we formed this relationship, and, he's been awesome. That's why we're in Rock Creek. That's why we're in Montana, because of Bill and Carol, the Foley family. Like, Bill is like, I remember he used to tell us security all the time, and he told me, he goes, hey, I got something for you when you're done. And this was like 5 years before I was finished. And I was like, Bill, like, I got a lot to go. Yeah. But he kept telling me, he's like, let me know when you're ready. Yeah. And I was like, all right. So I started doing board work for him, and just sitting there. When I retired, I did board work for him, and, just sat on a few boards, SPAC boards, and they turned into System 1, sat on that board for a little bit. But it's just learning business. Once you have, you're a leader, right? So, like, once you understand the vernacular, like, it's the same. It's the same thing. So it's leading people and finding their niche and being able to talk to them and sit them down and bring them here and trying to just plug and play. And that's what it's learning different types of business. And, people, you've been in all different types of locker rooms. That's why I think sports helps out so much, right? It's because it's all different walks of life. It's different nationalities. You're all going for the same goal, but then you learn how to talk to people. You know what makes people click. This is the time. Like, you can talk to him right now. You got to go have the conversation, right? Yeah. And I feel like when I retired, I didn't get it. I didn't grasp the fact that it's so hard for people to have conversations in the real world.
Man, this is very difficult.
Being on a team, it's like, oh, we're gonna go talk. Like, let's go, good, bad, or ugly. Like, let's talk this out. And in the real world, it's not like that.
But I would even say, even in pro sports, people say they can have those conversations, and especially tough conversations, but they're not always willing to actually have them when push comes to shove. To then take that into the real world, saying, all right, now it's live bullets.
Right.
And we're really
100%.
having real conversations about dollars and cents.
Right.
People start shifting around, and this really where you're talking about it when it comes to being able to have these conversations and go through those trials and tribulations in sports was allowed you to have that emotional intelligence to be able to pick up on those cues and reads, especially once you learned, as you mentioned, vernacular, as I call terminology, and being in that space and being comfortable with that terminology at the end of the day. That is impressive to be able to have that. And I think you should share that more. And I'm glad you're able to share it here on No Free Lunch, but also like, what do you think is through that relationship with Bill has afforded you that mentorship? And like, what did he see in you that said, I see something special in you?
You know what?
I want to work with you.
It's a great question. You know what? I've never asked, but at the end of the day, you click with people, and so my mom has discernment. I have discernment. I know people, and I've never asked Bill for anything. Yeah. Right? They're always like, he's always like, I don't ask my network for anything. Right? Yeah. It's like, hey, if you want to help, you can help. If you don't, it's all good. Like I built this as a friendship. Like I want a friendship first, and then I believe good people do good business together. Mm-hmm. And it's funny you say everybody's 50, 60, 70 years old. Mine are 80. But like, you know what I'm saying? But they want to help. And you have to discern who's willing to help and who's willing to hurt. Yeah. Right. And it's a slippery slope, because some you think are willing to help, but they're actually hurting you. And there's some that are genuinely trying to help you. And these guys that I know, they've really, taken me under their wing and are teaching me and including me in things. Like I'm part owner in the English Premier League team, Bournemouth. Right. Yeah. And that's through Bill. Bill called me and was like, Dex, you got to get in on this. It's me and Michael B. Jordan. Like, we're buying it. And he's like, put this amount of money. I said, what do you think is a good amount? He said, you should probably do this. And I did it. And, the rest is history, man. It's been awesome. And, when Bill says, if Bill touches, it turns to gold, man. And he's been great.
So let's talk about some of your investments, because I want to dive in a little bit more about the soccer team and some of the other things that you've been working on, not only building your own assets, but also some of the investments you did. What were some of the decisions around that and how you were allocating your capital to these different pieces? And do you see yourself always being hands-on, or is it also a learning experience for while you're doing these investments as well?
Both. I think it's both. But first of all, I had to have a good foundation. You talk about saving. Like I saved 70% of my money that I made. You know what I'm saying? Like I get my checks, and the 30% and the 70% would go on it. Like I put it on a bank, but not in a bank, but I put it in, stocks. But I honestly, I built a good foundation to now when I'm retired. Now I can start that. I can take that bucket and I can start, doing some venture stuff, some more investment side, some more fun stuff. But also the fun stuff I want to make money on. Right. If I have a passion for something, I'm not just going to throw money in a passion, like, and not make money just because I love it. It has to make sense. Right. What they say, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But I feel like you got to know the right people to be able to sit you down and talk to. But it's a learning experience as well. But you don't want to learn on the go while you're throwing a bunch of cash everywhere.
Yeah. What would you say were some of the biggest lessons that you learned through the process of not only saving, but then having mentorship and then actually being active in it? What are some of those big lessons that you learned?
Being a younger brother, I learned from watching people, right? Others, right? I learned, literally, like, I don't want to go through that. So what are the mistakes that they've made? Whether that's somebody in professional sports, you do a deep dive, or, somebody that's lost in the stock market, or, whatever it is. Like, I learned from stuff like that. and I try not to repeat those things that they did. Right.
Yeah.
So people read stuff and they're like, you know what? Like, oh, that's messed up that happened. But why did it happen?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, why did that happen? Like, I don't want to fall in the same mistakes that dude did. So you can get kind of like, it's cliff notes. Like all this, everybody else's problems are cliff notes to me. I don't want to. I don't want to do the same thing that you did.
So Dexter, I want to dive a little bit more into you mentioning your talent agency, and if I understand you and how you're building things correctly, there was something that you saw in that space that was missing that you wanted to create and provide as an individual. But I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. You tell me.
Yeah. So it's funny because, you know, when I was playing, I didn't know that I needed this until I retired. And I was like, you know, I met my partner, you know, in my company, and she managed me, Quavo from Migos, and I had met her a long time ago when I played for the Astros. And we're talking. She's like, "Who manages you?" Yeah. And I was like, "Well, you know, nobody." I was like, "I got an agent." I'm like, but I realized you need somebody day to day to really be able to grow, right? Because your agents have 6 to 7 people, right? And we need somebody on a day-to-day basis you can run to and be like, "Hey, could you go to my agent and look at this? What brand deals are over here? Let's do this." And more people need that, and they don't know they need that until they need it, right? Yeah. And you don't know what you don't know. And so I was like, you know, there's definitely a niche for this, and I know a ton of guys that need it. Yeah. And so we started our own thing, and you know, people kind of they entrust stuff because they know I go through a process. I don't just do stuff. I go through a process of, are we going to do this? Do we need to do this? And they know I know a ton of people. They know we're an arm's length away from every CEO or whomever in this world. So it's brand deals. It's the whole nine.
So what does that look like on a day-to-day basis, and how are you building that out? Is it a boutique business, or are you looking to be in the size of CAA, WME from that perspective?
It's more boutique. It's more boutique. It's good people. You know, I get to, like I said, have discernment, so I get to pick the people kind of that we want to deal with, and I want everybody to look at the 400 Ventures and be like, you know what? I know they have good people over there. Yeah. That part. And I do the same with wealth management. Like I'm more just the relationships, but I get to actually choose the people who could be a part of it because I know that they're like-minded.
And when it comes to wealth management, I'm just out of curiosity, do you have a big bank that you're working with, or how does that operate? So
it's multi-custodial. So yeah. So it's not just one bank, but my partner is my wealth advisor. Okay. Actually. Yeah, so we built this together, and you know, Anthony's smart, just one of the smartest guys I've met, especially in that space. So you know, rocking with him, I was like, hey, I need other good people to be a part of this. Because he is a savant in this space.
Yeah, no. And the reason why I asked is because, I mean, financial literacy is huge in my opinion. And a lot of guys and girls, as they come up in the sporting world, everybody expects for them to know this information, especially with NIL at such a young age and people getting hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars and not realizing, man, this can be gone in 2 seconds. So let's build 100%. Nest eggs. Let's build something that's going to be sustainable for you, because you never know what's going to happen. And you have an opportunity to set yourself up for life to be in a great situation or in an even better situation if you do make it pro. So,
and the crazy thing about it is people don't want to be vulnerable, right? Yeah. You don't they want to ask questions because they don't want to. It's overwhelming. Like finances are overwhelming, especially if you didn't grow up knowing like all the backgrounds and bonds and stocks and, you know, appreciations. And those are just little things but you start to understand that and sit down and learn, and you're like, okay, I see. Yep. Now I see. Then it starts to become common sense, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's when you know when it starts to become like, clockwork. Like, oh, isn't that common sense? No, it's not. It's definitely not. But you understand it now.
Yeah.
Right.
And you haven't been living in that world. And that now that you've been exposed to that world and you understand, again, the terminology,
100%.
how to communicate and understand and comprehend these different things, it becomes second nature to you from that perspective, man. I want to transition a little bit along the same lines of obviously being a champion with the Cubs and really seeing how that championship came together in that culture. What was that culture like? And what do you take from that winning season, let alone all your years in baseball, that you apply to life now in the business world and what your endeavors?
I'd say the first thing that you talked about culture. And for me, culture is communication. Like we just talked about, like it's being able to have those tough conversations. But look, we're going to have those tough conversations, but nobody else or outside this is going to hear about these conversations. Like, let's have this conversation. Let's nip it in the bud and let's move on, because there's a lot of stuff that goes on as team wise, but the best teams are like this. Like, don't get me wrong. We had our battles
like brothers,
like
y'all
brothers.
fight,
but on the field, you wasn't messing with my brother. Period.
Exactly. Yeah.
We
I'm
were
the one who can
always,
beat him up. Yeah.
Exactly. We was always together at all times. And we knew that was special. That team was special because we were just everywhere we went. It wasn't like clicked up, like the pitchers go somewhere to eat, that everybody, one person go, we all go.
Yeah.
And like it becomes that's your family, right?
Yeah.
And we're brothers still now to the day. Like we're about to celebrate 10 years, and you look back at it, it's like, dang, like what's my boys doing? Like I know when we all get back together, it's gonna be up. So
it's gonna be live 100%. In Chicago for your 10-year anniversary.
It is for sure.
You said it. You cemented an amazing legacy, obviously, in sports, and I'm curious because I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm young, and I'm only a couple years behind you in age from that perspective, but. What type of legacy do you want to leave off the field? And what does that look like ideally to yourself?
Inclusive. You know why? Okay. Because I believe you can go down we could talk for 7 hours on this because you know what? My mom being a teacher, like I always felt sorry, I had empathy towards the people who would sit at lunch by themselves. Like, and for me, and I'd be the one, like, I'd be sitting with my friend, and I'd go sit with them and have a conversation with them. You never know what they're going through. You never know how people are feeling, right? They might not just feel included. It might be a cool cat. You just don't know. Yeah. Right? Or you don't know what somebody has gone through or is going through. Maybe you can help. And you know what? Inclusion, and that's how I feel on teams, man. Like everybody. I remember that some of these dudes went to a country concert, right? And they were talking about it the next day. Oh, there's a sick concert. I was like, what concert was it? And they're like, oh, went to this concert. I was like, well, thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Right? And they were like, well, we didn't know you like country. And I was like, well, you didn't ask. Yeah. Right? You don't know what you don't know, right? Yeah. So ask questions, include everybody in everything, right? And if they show you one side, then maybe you don't click with them. And that's fine too. But at least like that, that you made an effort. And I feel like with team, with business, and everybody talks about culture and building this, you can't build culture if you're not inclusive.
No, that's very powerful, man. And I appreciate you sharing that, because for me, it would be always interesting that guys would look at me and say, man, especially later on in my career, man, he's all about business. He ain't never going to go out. He's never going to do this. But one thing I really respected about my dude Vita, especially in Tampa, and I was year 9, 10. Right. He was like, man, come out. And I was like, man, nah, I'm cool. And then one day he asked me again, and I pulled up. I was like, where y'all going? I'm gonna meet y'all out there. And I pulled up for a couple hours. I'm not staying out till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll stay till midnight, and then I'm getting back to the house from that standpoint. But it's a part of that camaraderie and that inclusion and that ability to spend that time together, especially outside of the building, is very, very key from that perspective.
I mean, you probably saw it in Greece. Like, I'm all over the place. I'm like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
bro, come over here. Hey, come with us. Let's go.
We went from smoking cigars to, hey, man, let's go to the pool the next morning, all these different things. So you definitely inclusive with everybody for sure. So I appreciate that.
You got to be.
Yeah. But this has been amazing. But before I let you go, man, I'd be remiss not to ask you this question. In your life or in your career, what is the biggest price you've ever had to pay for a breakthrough?
Depression.
Okay.
And I'm the happiest guy ever. And in St. Louis, I was depressed.
Okay.
Didn't know what it was, and, I was going through a bunch of stuff and just, I realized what it was. And I think just realizing and knowing the signs, when I look back, like I said, I learned from things, right? I learned quickly, right? So, I figured it out and, talked to some people and was able to get out the rut. But at the end of the day, I know those signs now. Yeah. Right. And it kind of like, for me, it's like, everybody's like, Dex, you were depressed? You're like, bro, you wake up happy. Like, you happy all the time. Yeah. I was like, I was, and I didn't know what it was. I was just in a rut. And you know what? Like I said, I know what led up to that. Mm-hmm. And now I learned from that. So now I know, like, I'm energy driven, right? And if the energies don't match up and if the personalities don't match up, then that's fine. We just don't need to be around each other. But I now realize what I like and what I don't like. Yeah. If that makes sense. And that's helped me through and through, from business to personal relationships to, to friendships, everything. Man, correct me if I'm wrong, but energy and the ability to be around somebody that is uplifting to you versus bringing you down. Exactly. That is something. Exactly. Iron sharpens iron. But it's just, there's people in this life and in this world that you sometimes think want the best for you. And you said this earlier in this conversation. They're either bringing you up or they're bringing you down. Right. And that is very, very key. It's funny you say that. My wife and I talk about this all the time. There's those people that some people like that are uber successful. Yep. They want to see you grow, but not bigger than them. Exactly. Which is a problem. Why not? Why not? You be top dog in your space and I'll be top dog in my space. And then we both at the top of the mountains. I don't understand it. I truly don't get it. Because for me, it's like, if you're doing well, I'm happy. I'm just happy. I want good people to do good things, and I'm happy for them, period. Right? You know what? If you make $1 gazillion, that's awesome, bro. And if I help, bro, more power to you, man. Include me in some deals. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't forget about the little man. Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, I just don't understand that aspect of it. Like, they're good until you're competition. Exactly. And like you said, man, competition, there's no need to be competition. There's so much in this world for everybody to share. Exactly. Why do we need to compete when we can band together and take over the world together? I feel like that's small-minded thinking, right? Yep. Like, this is the only space there is. Like, you're not going to dominate my space. Like, bro, the world is so big. There's so many opportunities for everybody. Let's all build together. Maybe we can conquer this, divide and conquer. Dex, man, this has been amazing, man. I appreciate your time. Absolutely, I look forward to our next BOG. But before then, we're going to have to connect. And I hope I get an invite to that 10-year anniversary in Chi-Town. Come on. Hey, I'm in the process of we're getting a restaurant. So we'll see. Okay. Yeah, Just don't forget about the little people. I got you, dog. I got you. Anytime you come to my city in Chicago, man, come to my restaurant. We'll got you. It's love. I was actually, my wife and boy, I think, gonna be there in the next week. So I'm gonna make sure that they pull up. Call me, please. I will let you know, man. Thank you. 100%. Absolutely, man. This was awesome. T. Rowe Price proudly sponsors No Free Lunch.
The views expressed in this podcast are those of the podcast participants and do not necessarily reflect those of T. Rowe Price. Their sponsorship supports the platform and does not imply endorsement of specific content or perspectives. Man, what a great conversation with my guy Dexter. It's plain and simple, man. He has had a lot of success and created and worked with a lot of people that are successful. And I think one thing that I take from this conversation ultimately is inclusion, man. Include people in your success, show them the path, build things with other people that are like-minded and who want to learn. And being inclusive and having empathy for people in tough situations is a key thing, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to No Free Lunch, or I'm going to come find you. But on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.